Hey guys, how are you? This is Matt Beck from freesaloneducation.com and Gratitude Salon Education. I'm really excited. Another Wednesday morning here with you guys, just sharing a little bit of education with you. Today what we're going to focus on is how to cut a graduation. This is probably one of the most popular haircuts that hairdressers want to learn. And today I'm not really going to focus on teaching you a graduation haircut. What I want to focus on is really the fundamentals in cutting a graduation so you get the result that you're looking for. There'll be different videos that we always put out that have different graduated bob haircuts that, those are actual haircuts you can take and use in the salon. Today, I want to work on the fundamentals. So we're going to go through a few different exercises on how to kind of control that weight. We started this series about 5 weeks ago. We've been meeting every Wednesday and going over different fundamentals of haircutting. So it's kind of all built up to today and, using everything that we've gone through. So if you haven't seen our other videos, make sure you check out. I set this up as a playlist for you guys so you can start at the very beginning, work your way through each episode. And, they're all about 15 minutes long. So it doesn't take a long time. You can just sit down, relax, and watch those, the different fundamentals of haircutting, from our point of view. Also, before we start, check out our website, freesaloneducation.com. We're constantly adding new footage and new education to that website, from business tips to these classes live to different education videos we post every week. So make sure you check that out. Get on our email list. You can do that by hitting join when you go to the website. And also make sure that you subscribe to us and keep following us, because we're going to be posting education nonstop for a long time, so just for you guys. So here we go. We're going to start off this graduated haircut. I want to keep everything very balanced in this. You're going to base the parting based on your guest part, but let's just say right now we're going to go with a pretty traditional side part. We're going to start on the left hand side. So I'm going to comb her hair back. Let me adjust her head a little bit. So we'll comb her hair back. Left hand side parting. And we'll comb it over. Again, this is going to be things that you've heard me say throughout this whole fundamental series, but just make sure everything is nice and clean, and you're going to have the best end result within the haircut. So we got our side parting here, so hopefully you can see. There we go. Now what I want to do is I want to split the head in half. And really I'm doing that mostly because I want to know where the front and back separate, and I just don't want to be working with all the hair at once, clipping it all away. So, just again, kind of simplifying the haircut and simplifying the sectioning so that I don't have issues with keeping everything clean and organized. We'll comb that hair down. See that good. Twist this up, clip it away. So I like to kind of twist that up into a nice little knot. What that does is it really helps, let's see if you can see that. It helps just keep it nice and tight, all these areas nice and tight out of the way of the rest of the haircut. Same thing on this side, high point of the head down to the ear. I'm really looking for that ridge on the head there. So we have the parietal ridge, and then we have this ridge that's kind of the separation between front and back. So I'm really looking for that bone structure right there, and that's where I'm going to make my section. So, this could vary based on what head shape you're working with, what the person's head shape is like. Again, twisting it up and out of the way, putting our clip down in there. Now, I'm going to split the back directly down the center. Again, this is a fundamental graduation haircut. This is not, anything extreme. There's no disconnection, no over direction or asymmetry at all to it. So we're just keeping everything very balanced, straight down the back of the head. Now again, working with bone structure, we have the occipital bone right here. the reason I work with the bones we've talked about before, but just to recap, the bone structure is going to influence the weight within the haircut. So if I am using the same angle, let's say 45 degrees, working down, as the head starts to move away from me, that 45-degree angle is changing. So I need to understand how the bone structure is working so that as I'm cutting the hair, the weight in the haircut doesn't get too heavy. So we'll make our section from the occipital bone over. And I'm just going to comb the rest of that over to the side. This part I'm not going to knot because I'm going to be using it pretty quick. So just clip it. Put a clip right up into it. That'll hold it nice and steady there. You can see. Real simple. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. We'll comb the hair over. Make sure that that parting is balanced as well. We'll take a little bit more there, and I'll comb it over. And we'll comb it down. So pretty simple, basic sectioning, nothing complicated. Let me see if I can actually get this camera down just a little bit more so you guys can see better. Get that out of the way. Okay, so now, raise her up. We're going to be working right in the nape area. That's how we're going to cut our guideline. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to cut this in my fingers because I want true 0 degree. And if you notice, the way that the head shape works, the head starts to move in at the nape of the neck and then out. So if I were to hold this in my fingers, I'm automatically elevating the hair. So I'm going to end up with that kind of fringier look at the bottom. It won't be a solid line. So I really want to get a true 0 degree. So what I find with a mannequin, the easiest thing to do is hold it with your comb, just like this. Sometimes it's easier with a guest to hold it with your fingers like this and work your way in. On a mannequin, it's definitely easier with the comb. So just using real loose tension. This is another key factor within hair cutting is make sure that the tool you're using, the comb that you're using, I wouldn't want to use the tight teeth of the comb because it's going to stretch the hair too much. And then when I go to cut it, it's going to spring back up. You got to really look at the hairline of the guest. Obviously, this mannequin, most of the time it's very consistent in the back. But with a guest, they might have a cowlick on this side and not on that side. So you want to change your tension based on that. So let's say that she had a really strong cowlick back here. I'm actually going to use no tension whatsoever and let the hair just fall the way it's going to, and I'm going to cut across. If they don't have a cowlick, then I can control the hair a little bit more and hold it in my comb, keep it nice and steady. So you want to base your technique on the guest's hair, and that's going to give them the best result and the easiest way to do their hair at home. So right now, we're going to come in here, use my comb, hold the hair down, and I'm just going to keep my eyes level with the graduation. We're going to come in here and just cut straight across and work that line in. Same thing here. I'm just going to hold the hair down, and I'm going to use the tip of my scissor here. Because my personal preference, I like to push the weight the same direction no matter where I'm cutting. So I wouldn't want to cut this way here and then come back in and cut this way because I'd be pushing the weight all to the left side. If I come back in this way and I cut from center out and then I cut center out this way, then I'm going to have a more consistent weight line. That's just something that I like to do in there. So we'll hold the hair down. I want to make sure that I'm still over directing the hair back. So what I'm going to do now is we'll shift over here. I'm going to slide my scissor underneath, lift the hair out, put it into my wide teeth of my comb, and make sure that my over direction, which you guys can see, but I don't want to round this corner. So what I want to do is pull the comb back, straight line with the nape of the neck. So keep it nice and parallel to the line I was cutting. We're going to work that line across. What's going to happen there is it's going to push weight forward. So you'll start to see that forward line drop in. We have elevated the hair a little bit, so I'm going to work just a little bit of the line into it, but following that same shape that we just created. So I might take out a little excess weight here, but we're still following that line. I want it to move a little bit forward into the weak area right behind the ear. So missed a little hair there. Come in here. There we go. Now we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Work that line with the tip real quick. And we can cut more into that in a little bit. Now we're going to work our way on this side of the head here. Get a little bit closer for you. Hold it out with my scissor. Over direct it back into a straight line. I'm going to work the tip of my scissor across the hair and cut that line in. Again, that'll push a little bit of weight forward. You'll see a little collapse in it because it's obviously elevated at that point because we're bringing it back. So I just want to remove some of that weak area but keep that line in there. Now, I want to talk about something that's really important within cutting a graduation. Now, you're controlling weight in two different ways. So some people like to cut vertical graduation. Some people like to cut horizontally. I like to cut both because there's certain times within a graduation that I like to have horizontal. I like to cut horizontal because I control more of the line this way, right? And then there's sometimes I like to cut vertical because I control more of how much weight I want to remove from the haircut. So if I look at here, hopefully I can give you guys a visual. But let's take a horizontal section out of the bottom here. The other key thing when I'm cutting a graduation is if I cut this horizontally, it's a little bit more comfortable for me than trying to get my hand in here. I could cut it at a diagonal. That would definitely be a little bit more comfortable. But cutting it vertically is fine for me on one side, and then the opposite side I have a little bit of trouble getting in there with the scissor. So horizontally it's easier, it's more comfortable. The second thing is if you look at what I'm holding in my hand. So if I take a little bit of my hair underneath for my guide, if you guys can see that. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that hair underneath for my guideline, and I bring that back. I'm controlling all of this hair that is going to keep that line consistent horizontally there. So really the weight control in that part. Then if I were to hold the hair this way, now I'm really only controlling how much weight I want to remove or keep in the haircut. So my goal is to make sure right now that I'm building a really strong shape for the top to sit on. So I want to move in horizontally. Got to make sure you keep the consistency with your elevation here. See if this is easier for you guys to see. There you go. So I want to make sure that I don't lower my hand too much. I want to keep a nice consistent angle in this haircut. And now, as the head starts to move down, so is my hand. So I'm slightly dropping, still keeping a nice square back to the haircut, but dropping my elevation because the head shape is dropping and changing. So you're going to see how that line will lay nice and soft within the haircut there. We're going to keep continuing horizontally up until I get to the ridge right at the crown. So again, horizontal section, just grabbing a little bit of that old hair as a guide, and then elevating my hand a little bit more because now the head is starting to move. So as that head starts to move, your elevation has to change to keep the weight distribution in the haircut consistent. There we go, dropping just a little bit. I know it's kind of hard to see that. Let's see if I can grab another angle. And then you'll see how I drop my hand here, still keeping it at pretty much a 45-degree angle, but because I'm dropping it down, like so basically this is the way it would work. So this is 90 degrees, so I want to keep it right about here at 45 degrees. Here is 90 degrees, so I want to keep it here at 45. This is 90 degrees, so this is 45. So you really just want to see where the head shape is. So this is 90, so this is 45. So really just working your way through the haircut and understanding where the head's at so that you know what angle you're at, so you don't keep too much weight. We'll go through, cut this whole thing at 45 degrees. So basically this part we're cutting at 0, and then we have a really heavy top to the haircut that we have to go in and point cut at the end because we don't understand why we have that weight there. So definitely most important thing is just to understand the head shape. Flip it away. All right, so now we're going to change it up because now we're on top of the head. So it's not as easy for me to come up here and try to pull this hair up. So what I want to do is now switch vertically. Vertically is going to help me stay consistent and work my way through. So vertically, I just want to make sure I take nice small sections here. So you can see that 45-degree angle building up there. What I want to do is just elevate slightly, and then we're going to soften the round of the head here by following at 90 degrees and really removing that weight line from the graduation. So nice strong shape on the bottom, and then that part's just going to lay nice and soft and round it off there. So we'll take another vertical section. Work our way up, removing that weight line, cutting at 90. Everything's being over directed straight back, so you definitely will not see me over directing straight to the center, but I am over directing straight back into the head. Working those little hairs at the bottom. Cutting straight up, nice little elevation, remove that weight line. So now you can see how that falls. Really nice and consistent. You are getting a little bit of forward push with the weight here, but that's great because it's pushing it right behind the ear, and behind the ear is where you want that weight. So we can always go in and create a straight line based on that hair right there. But it's going to leave it nice and heavy, so because that's a weaker part of the haircut. So we can make that decision once we're done. So again, let down the last little bit of that section. I'm going to lower her a little bit here. You don't see the back of your head very often. I just saw it. Nice. All right, so still working vertically here. And working at 90 degrees. So just softening the weight line within the haircut. Feel free, those of you guys that are watching right now, because we're live, if you watch it later, you can't ask questions, you can, but leave a comment and it should pop up. I can see it if you have any questions. Later on, if you're watching this on replay, leave a comment. We like getting back to you guys and helping you out in any way possible. So still straight up in the air, over directing. Straight out from the head. So keeping a nice square back to the haircut. I'll see if I can show you this, but sometimes within a haircut, you're going to see many different lines within it. But sometimes, like, let's say that this piece of hair right here is a little shorter than this. That doesn't mean that I want to cut it there. So you got to be careful what you're bringing into your hand. Like, let's say I bring this in and I end up cutting that thinking that's a guide, then my whole entire haircut's ruined. So really all I want to be bringing in is the part that, you know, I've been working with. So just making sure, and now you can see that's a nice kind of solid line in there. And we got our weight sitting right in the corner. So nice little angle to the haircut. Now what we're going to do is the same thing on the opposite side. I'll lift her up, so you guys can see there. So again, working horizontal. Slide my clip up in there. Keep the hair nice and organized. Even on this side, I like to just take a little bit of the hair with me. We'll clip the rest away over there, just so I'm only working with a tiny bit. But I definitely want to be able to see on the other side, make sure that my line is consistent. You want to find your guide in there. So grab a little bit of the old hair. There's my guide. There's nothing cooler to me than when you're cutting hair and you cut that line and you see it just fall nice and balanced in there. And then you cross-check it and it looks great. It's just a really cool feeling. It lets you know that, you know, you've practiced and you've worked your way through it and you've learned to stay consistent. You know, it's all about control. And I know for me, the last thing, I'm usually a pretty impatient person. But when I'm cutting hair, it's very calming to me and it allows me, I can actually take my time, and I just really love watching the shape kind of build in the haircut. So again, head's starting to move away a little bit there, so my elevation will change slightly. I got my guideline. I'm going to work my way through. And as the head starts to dip down, oh, that's reality, all right. As the head starts to dip down, our elevation will slightly change just to make sure that the angle stays the same on the head shape. So you can see, starting to push the weight forward. Now we're on top of the head here, so I'm going to let down the rest of this hair, and we're going to work. I'm going to stay on the same side of the head that I was on before. I just want to make sure now I'm pulling the hair towards myself. So we'll comb the hair down. Again, there's going to be shorter hair. I want to look at this angle, so maybe you can see as I comb this hair up, there's an angle there, right there. So I want to go to the tip of that angle to use it as my guide. There you go. And we're working this at 90 degrees. Again, straight out from the head here. There's my guide. It's really important that you stay consistent in this part, because if you're not, then you're going to start pushing weight further or making one side heavier and longer than the other side. So you really got to stay consistent with this part. And then you don't cut an accidental asymmetrical bob. Then you got to talk your way out of it in the salon. Cutting on top of my finger, Couple key things, just making sure that one blade is the only blade moving. I have a stationary blade that rides across my fingers, and then I have a blade that comes through and I cut just with the tip of the scissor. That gives me the straightest line I can get. A lot of people are using scissors that aren't super sharp too. So if you try to come in here and take this whole entire section at once, sometimes it doesn't cut, a real straight line. So I want to make sure as I work through that, I use just the tip and I cut little bits of hair at a time, and it really creates a nice perfect straight line in there. So this straight back, elevation is higher because we're now still keeping it at 90 degrees, but we're just pulling it straight up, pushing that weight right into the edge, the corner, right behind the ear. So now what I like to do is, now that we've pushed the weight into the corner, if I was cutting this to have kind of like a forward feel to the haircut, a little bit more length in the front, then I would leave this and build it from there. If I'm trying to cut just a really nice graduated bob, then I like to remove this line from being forward angle. I like that I made it like that because it pushed the extra weight there, but now I can come in and just remove that little bit of extra weight. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Comb it down, so you guys can see. There we go. Our way across. No tension to the hair, just cutting straight across there. Now, still continuing horizontally. I'm going to clip this hair away, keep it out of the guest's face so that they're not sitting there with a blanket of hair the whole entire time. And now I'm going to determine how I want this shape to really come out at the end. So do I want it to go across and then dip down a little bit? Do I want it to be straight across? Where do I want it to hit on her cheekbone? These are all questions that you definitely want to talk to your guest about and see what they're looking for. What I'm going to do is just relieve a little bit of tension and on the hair, kind of loosen it up a bit, because the ear is going to automatically want to push that hair out. So definitely helps out. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to cut straight across a guide. So again, this is fundamental haircut, so we're not trying to do anything too fancy. Just going through, keeping very consistent and working that line in. Now, depending on the density of your guest's hair, this is a medium density on a mannequin, so I'm not real worried about weight buildup too much. If they had a really high density of hair, then I'd probably cut that guideline and then start to elevate it and bring it up just to remove a little bit of weight on there. But for this mannequin, we can just definitely come down, cut it at a 0-degree angle, just work our way across. Just using that tip of the scissor as I work my way through. Cut a nice straight line. We've got the mannequin sectioned at a side parting, so it should be right where she parts her hair. So that's another reason why we can just go through here and cut our straight line in. So I'm going to comb that over, top of the head, work our way through, finish out using the tip of the scissor to finish out the line, combing the hair. I like to comb the hair over and over because that really ensures that the line looks nice and straight. So there's that part, real simple. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. We can do this in less sections because it's our weaker side. comb it down. I'm going to slightly tilt her head, not too much. If I can. Yeah, you guys can see that. So comb it down, tap the ear, relieve a little bit of tension there. Let down the rest. I can see my guide through there. Combing it down. Again, patience is the key in this. You don't need to go for hair that's not laying the way you need it to. So I'll comb this back, working just with the tip of that scissor. I'm working through the shape. So now we have our graduated bob. Really simple. I think the key things that we need to make sure we focus on in the salon when we're cutting a graduated bob is really just try working horizontally at the beginning, work your way up through the haircut. Then when you get to the top ridge here, just make sure that maybe switch vertical because you're going to control the weight more, the weight removal more, and you'll get a really nice shape in the bob haircut. So you can see she looks really good. This is a great haircut for curly hair, straight hair. Just make your adjustments based on the density and you're going to have more success in the salon. And just really, I think with the fundamentals of haircutting, what we've been going through the last 5 weeks is the key to it is understanding the head shape, understanding the way that the weight moves on the head shape, and then the haircuts come from there. So, watch our other haircuts on freesaloneducation.com or on our YouTube channel, which you're on right now, and check out the different fun creative cuts that we have on there. There'll be more to come, so just make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you follow us. We have a Twitter account at Salon Education. We also have our website, freesaloneducation.com. We're on Facebook at Gratitude Salon Education. And we're always trying to keep up to date and update you guys on the newest trends, the things that are going on. So many more videos to come. Thank you so much for watching. And I also want to thank the people that make what we're doing possible right now. Freestyle Systems, check them out. They're the hanging blow dryers. They're great. You can see them at freestylesystems.com. And also Millennium Harm Software. Can't thank those guys enough. They're really dedicated to the beauty industry and allowing us to give you guys free education straight from the salon. So have a great day in the salon. Continue working. Please comment. Let us know what you think. And we will see you guys soon. Thanks.